How are you doing? Glad to see you back here at MMA Alerts. Now let's begin today by a warning has been sent to Dustin Poirier by Islam Makhachev before his UFC 302 bout with Dustin Poirier. Islam Makhachev made it clear that he thinks he has Dustin Poirier's number. On a recent edition of Good Guy, Bad Guy with Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen, Makhachev said that he and his staff have been working on something unique in the UFC. However, it is still unknown what the champion has planned. The simplest way to win, Cormier said at one point, is to wrestle Poirier. But following his knockout victory over Alexander Volkanovski, he also famously inquired if the champion was starting to adore his knockout strength. According to Makhachev, there appears to be a lot of disagreement among MMA fans as to who they believe will be the victor thus far. There are many who think Poirier will be no match for Makhachev on June 1st and others who think the Diamond will finally win the uncontested gold. It will be fascinating to watch how this bout unfolds, what with the stakes being at an all-time high and the competitors' stated intentions to send a message to the rest of the division. How about we examine Jones? John unveils UFC desires. Lately, UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones has been circling the MMA world with mixed messages about what's next for him. Jones and the UFC have made it apparent that his next fight will be against Makhachev. Even if a title unification showdown with interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall would be the most logical choice. The champion has been vague about the possibility of a rematch following his bout with Makhachev, but he has consistently denied that he would fight Aspinall. Plus, he just confirmed his homecoming plans on social media, saying, "I'm in the middle of a pretty clear decision. I can either face the man with all the plaudits by sticking to my exact and original intentions, or I can ignore all my stipe preparation and fight another hype train that might not even exist in 3 years. No one can convince me to alter my course of action. In terms of all-time great heavyweights, Stipe is right up there. I'm going to give the dude what he wants and take another scalp." Next thing you know, it'll happen. So Jones replied to a fan who said the UFC should have rethought scheduling an interim title fight between Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich by saying UFC is a brilliant company, did what they had to do to save the event. But I do agree with you. It definitely confused a bunch of UK fans. It got them entitled thinking their boy really is the champion. I believe you. It takes me back to the time when DC was on top while I was away. Post-op retirement talk was Jones's next move. He wrote it long before the announcement of an interim champion. If Sergey had won, I would be in the exact same situation. I really enjoy how the British have managed to convince themselves that their interim champion is terrifying me. Lets me reach a whole new audience. Everyone is aware of the true victor. Stipe Miocic has already stated his intention to sit out the game till Jones returns. He spoke about this on the Jackson podcast and said, naturally, as many have noted, along with the reality that there is an interim champion on the sidelines. Miocic has refrained from fighting since his loss to Francis Ngannou in early 2021 in an effort to consolidate the belt. However, regardless of that, a fight between Jones and Miocic is clearly in the cards, most likely for later this year. Look forward to Daniel Cormier's heavyweight reaction to Alex Pereira next. Nobody has ever won gold in 3 different UFC divisions. Nonetheless, there are many who think Alex Pereira, a light heavyweight champion and a kickboxing Hall of Famer, might be the pioneer. The champion has no intention of fighting at heavyweight in his next bout, but the idea that he may make history by doing so has sparked much speculation in the mixed martial arts world. A legendary mixed martial arts fighter Daniel Cormier recently provided his 2 cents in an interview with MMA Junkie. Naturally, Nurmagomedov Ankalaev is hoping to have a shot at winning the championship before the year comes to a close. Due to Yuri Prohaska's pursuit of a rematch with the champion, possibly prior to a bout between Bihida and Ankalaev, it appears that Poatin's possible weight increase is still in the future. Look at how the fighters reacted when Sean O'Malley released the film next. Flyweight champion Alexandra Pantoja and Sugar Sean O'Malley's crew got into a little quarrel recently due to coach Tim Welsh and O'Malley. According to Welsh, O'Malley knocked Pantoja out in their sparring session when he was just starting out as a professional. O'Malley subsequently went on social media to bolster their assertions by posting a screenshot of the same moment. But in Pantoja's opinion, the two should drop all of the film at once. The champion recently retaliated in an interview with UFC Unfiltered following his victory over Steve Erceg. No word from O'Malley as of this writing. It will be intriguing to observe, though, considering the circumstances. If both of these fighters keep defending their championships, they will eventually find themselves in the octagon together. What follows is an examination of UFC fight updates. Check out today's UFC fight updates, starting with a middleweight matchup set for UFC Louisville on June 8th as we get ready for this weekend's UFC Fight Night Saint Louis show. The main event of the fight is a 5-round match between Nasruddin Imavov and top-ranked middleweight contender Jared Cannonier. Cannonier said that he and Paulo Costa were originally scheduled to fight at UFC 301 in Rio de Janeiro by the promotion. But getting medical clearance to fight was a struggle for him at the time. Now that the comeback date is set, Cannonier is looking to continue his winning streak, which began in June with his dominating victory against Marvin Vettori. Imavov, on the other hand, will be aiming to improve upon his win over Roman Dolizet in February, the 8th of June in Louisville. will reportedly also feature a scintillating middleweight contest between Dalazet and Michel Pereira. After defeating Ihor Poitier at UFC 301 earlier this month, Pereira will be aiming to continue his winning streak. While Nasruddin Imavov lost by majority decision in February, Dalazet has lost his last 2 fights and will be seeking to end his losing streak. Finally, in terms of UFC fight updates, rumors have it that Korean Tiger Jung-Young Lee will be fighting undefeated featherweight Haider Amila at UFC Vegas 94 on July 20th. Lee will be aiming to extend his winning streak inside the octagon to 2 fights following consecutive victories on the path to the UFC, while Amil will be seeking to build on his victory over Fernie Garcia in February. Looking at Yuri Prochaska's response to Alex Pereira's remarks is up next. After beating Jamal Hill at UFC 300, Alex Pereira was supposed to defend his championship against Magomed Ankalaev. However, Ankalaev said after the event that he won't be able to fight until October. The champion's emphasis switched to a rematch with Yuri Prochaska following Pereira's UFC 300 victory over Alexander Rakic, suggesting that he wanted to remain active and fight regularly. Regardless, Prochaska still hasn't heard anything about the possible bout from the UFC. He spoke with Bodak Canada to provide an update and reveal when his next fight would be. At this point, it is entirely up to UFC to decide when they want to have this fight. The person I spoke with was, "Thanks to my manager, Tim Simpson, who is also Max's manager, everything is in order, and I'm eagerly awaiting the resolution of these impending fights. I have no idea when my manager will confirm this, but I'm thinking it could be after August or October. In the end, it doesn't matter to me if they want me to fight in any way, shape, or form, I'll do it. As far as I can tell, the summer's end is going to be." As for Prochaska, he's likewise prepared to fight sooner if it becomes necessary. However, given that Magomed Ankalaev is aiming for an October return, it is possible that the 2 contenders may seek to capitalize on an opportunity to challenge for the title at the same time. This might pose a significant challenge for the UFC. Change of subject now. Will examine Johnson reveals UFC's dirty little secret. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, a former flyweight champion, was abruptly traded by the UFC for Ben Askren, ending his stint with the promotion. This hasn't stopped Mighty Mouse from making appearances in UFC video games, which fans are absolutely loving. But it seems like he hasn't been compensated much. The beloved athlete recently shared on his YouTube channel how much he earned as an EA UFC competitor from seasons 2, 3, and 4, and as the cover athlete for season 3, implying that he was content with that sum. "I received my first verification for being in 25 grand was the price tag on the UFC video game. Many of you are probably thinking, that was it considered this, folks, $25,000 for the privilege of being in a video game. Thus, UFC 3 was the subsequent release. The subsequent payment I received was $12,500, and it was for this troublemaker. I was fine with it being a little lower now. It's like getting money for nothing. After my battle with Ray Borg, I accomplished something. They extended an offer for me to grace the cover. Therefore, I had to sign a release granting me the right to appear on the cover. In addition, I received a substantial sum of $10,000 for agreeing to appear on the cover, being featured on the cover for $10,000. By the way, the Icon Edition is very sick. With all my heart, I adore it. We can skip ahead. UFC 4 is released. So long, UFC, my character is still alive and well, even though I'm no longer employed by the corporation. Additionally, you all are portraying my character. As a result of my participation in the game, I will soon be receiving a massive check for $25,000, and it's breathtaking. Seemingly, Mighty Mouse earned $72,500 all total. In recognition of his appearance in 3 UFC games played over a decade, others argue that the UFC ought to have paid Johnson far more given his career earnings, appearance fees, and other bonuses, while others agreed with the former champion and thought the additional money was a good bonus.